My name is Norma Alvares. I have more than one profession. I am a practicing advocate and have been arguing cases in the High Court since the year 1990, which means that I am roughly 25 years an advocate. But I also do other things. I work in the NGO sector. I run 2 animal shelters. I also monitor and manage a book publishing and marketing company which deals with marketing of alternative literature. So I have many hats. I wear them different times, and essentially I don't like to be boxed into one profession. Everything has its priority. There are times and days when I am doing advocacy continuously, cases start and they have to be argued. But there are other times when I need to assist with running a shelter. I have to balance home. But basically I think it's a matter of priorities, and depending on what the situation calls for, I give my all to it at that time. Well, my husband and I have worked as a team since marriage. Maybe before marriage, we were friends in college. We married, we decided to leave the city. We decided to come to a rural area where about 35 years ago, Goa was rural. Today, you will think I came to some kind of a fancy place. But back in those days, we wanted to work in a village, which we did to start with. And we worked in Thane, Valpoi, which is at the foothills of the Ghats. And we were in a very primitive village. So a lot of things came from the first 5 years that I spent in Thane, Valpoi. It was a big change because I was a city girl from Mumbai, and I was suddenly in a place with no electricity, no telephone, papers coming after 2 days. But I have a positive attitude to most things, and I learnt a lot of things over there. I learned farming. I knew nothing about farming. So these were all new experiences, and with it came my base for the kind of work I do now. I understand and feel when there are droughts, when there are heavy rains, a crop is devastated, because I grew crops myself and faced a lot of problems in growing them, and understand how farmers are not, they are not people who don't understand. They are helpless in some sort of a way. We were running a rural development project. It was meant for rural people, and it is at that time that I got my inspiration to practice law, because I saw the kind of injustice that was meted out to people simply because they did not know their rights. Simple things from ration cards to certificates to little cases foisted upon them, but they were rights that city people take for granted. And being in that area, I thought that maybe if I studied law, I could represent them. It was as naive as that. This place in Thane also gave me my taste of environmentalism, in the sense that I saw how important the environment is, particularly to I want not poor people, but to people who are not urbanized. The environment is very important to them. Urban people get water in taps, they get their milk in packets, they get their food in shops. But in rural areas, the environment is important because you depend on that only. I think a lot of thing depends on how you look at a situation. I am a bold person by nature. I am courageous. I have confidence in myself. I don't see opposition very easily, and if there is, I use whatever skills I have to deal with it. So, if the question is that have I faced any kind of opposition being a woman in the profession I am, well, the answer actually is no. I have not faced opposition, and that comes out of a perspective that I bring to my work, where people feel challenged by my presence rather than me being intimidated by their presence. The family must recognize that women have got choices, things that they want to do, things that they want to achieve, and they must be encouraged in that. So it's important that we recognize that a woman, like a man, has got preferences and that they want to achieve certain things. Maybe they want to be a painter, maybe they want to climb a mountain, whether they want to go into sports, a lot of things that they want to do. There should not be a stereotyping of women by the family and the society itself. Secondly, I feel that this idea that a woman is grooming towards marriage, and once she is married, then she has got to take care of the family, and that is the end of her life. That is a successful woman. That is what handicaps a lot of women. I am not opposed to marriage. I am married for well over nearly 35 years, and I believe that marriage is good, and as a social fabric it's fine. But that the marriage is the be-all and end-all of women, that I oppose. There may be a possibility that somebody doesn't want to marry, does want to pursue a career instead. But when marriage becomes the whole focal point of everything, then a woman becomes stymied. She is entrapped in a narrow path. That becomes her first and foremost priority, and nothing else that she does matters. So she gives in to any other kind of opposition, which happens. But if she believes, or she is encouraged to believe, that well, you have a career, you can do things, and yes, marriage is fine and so on, that is a wonderful thing. So there is a personality change that we have to bring about in women, where they must be confident that there are things they want to achieve and that they have the capability and possibility. Social thinking, the family, the society you are in. See, we have come a long way. We have education is available for women. Reservations are there for women. You can stand for political office. You are in fact encouraged to stand for political office. Changes are happening, but these sometimes remain confined to a certain area. You go to school, but that you don't change at all your thinking at all. Another important place, I think, is religion. See, religion is very male dominated, and all religious ceremonies, whatever the religion, the male is important. Whether it is the church, priests are important. The Islam, the Hindu faith, whatever, the man is dominant, the woman is accompanying. I think time has come to recognize that women and men are creatures of God and can take an important place in society. So a religious sanction which makes a woman secondary carries on sometimes into the general. Yes, I think society has come a long way from the time when I was a little girl to the present. In terms of rights that are given by law to women, we have certainly made huge strides. Even in terms of societal perception of what women can do, what they can achieve, we have come a long way. For instance, education now, there is very few people who will even dare to say that I have a good daughter and I don't want her to go to school. So education is accepted that girls should go to school. The law also says that they should go to school. But the point there is whether parents, teachers, society pays as much attention to the girls actually studying, learning, achieving something, or they consider it just a ritual, time pass till the child becomes 14 years old. Then if they don't do well, they withdraw them from school and say, okay, well, it doesn't matter that you are not educated. After all, in the end, you only have to get married. So that is, the perception has not changed completely. Women have not just the right to vote, but reservation which enables them to stand for elections. And women are encouraged to fill in seats and so on. But again, the perception is that, well, okay, you stand for vote, but you do what your husband directs. Or you occupy a post that is falling vacant because he can't stand, so you are a proxy. And women accept that. They don't say that, well, I am a sarpanch or I am a panch, I have a duty to perform. They prefer to go by what their men folk tell them and think. So again, the perception that a woman can do, can think, can act has not yet changed. But I still feel it's a huge stride that women actually go to school, go to college, get an education, because eventually maybe one generation will pass and the next generation, it will come to them naturally. Today a woman may be in a political office simply because she is acting as a rubber stamp of her husband. But tomorrow there will be women who will have a mind of their own, and not all women are like this. There is still a feudal mindset in our society. Even with education, you still find in middle class, upper middle class, lower class, all classes, you find things like honor killing. Now that is something which is terribly backward, I think. Honor killing, you kill somebody because of a marriage choice that she has made. I recently saw the movie Pink, and they brought out very clearly the inequality between boys and girls in an educated middle class society, educated people. But there are two standards, obviously. Girls can do certain things, boys can do certain things. So this feudal mindset has not yet gone, and in that sense we have not really progressed. We still believe that, well, a girl should be in her place, there is a place and time and so on. So some things we have gone ahead, but we still need to pull ourselves along a long way. Well, I think that it's very good to start young. It's good that it starts in the family. Hopefully, parents who have one or two children would give them equal amount of space, time, money, education, not restrict them acquiring knowledge. It's good to bring up. It's good, as that movie Pink says, we have to change the boys. The girls will be all right. We don't have to tell girls what they can do. We have to tell boys. So I think society must move towards educating our young men on where they have to draw the line. That's one thing. As I said again, I think at a societal level, I look for changes in religion, because we are so much a God-fearing people that somehow it comes down to us that men are still superior, because religion puts them on a higher level. And I hope that in my lifetime I can see some changes in that sphere. I see nowadays in pujas, the men, husband and wife sitting together in a Hindu puja. I see in churches women are already coming up till the altar, reading, serving, doing a lot of things which they didn't do 25 or 30 years ago. The final step of equality is to be taken, and there is some resistance because naturally heads of all faiths are men. So it will take some time for that kind of change to happen. Freedom for me means doing the things that I enjoy doing, that I want to do, that give me satisfaction, that give me happiness, and even if they are not normal routine jobs that women do, traditional jobs, if I feel that I should do them, then I would want to do them because that's what freedom is all about. When I read in the newspapers of incidents of rape, molestation, etc., I always feel first very angry. I am angry that in this day and age such incidents still happen, that there are women who are still brutally assaulted, that there are women who are subjected to these kind of humiliation. If the person is a minor, or if the person is coming from a section of society where they are not really able to help themselves, I really feel sad, very sad, that a minor child's childhood and adult life is scarred by this incident. But I don't rest with helplessness. If there is something that I can do, I always make an effort to do it. I have represented women's organizations in several fora, in high courts, getting accommodation for children's courts, doing whatever I could do. So if there is something that I can do, then I always consider it my duty to be able to take some action and not simply forget about it later. I think there are enough laws. I was part of the group which formulated the domestic violence bill. I think that was the last bill we really required, dealing with domestic violence, which was not considered an act of violence at all. So the laws are there. It is the enforcement which is required. The punishments have to be made more stringent, and the police have to be educated that they must register these complaints rather than doing what they still do, which is telling women to try and settle with the husbands or the perpetrators in some way. Our police are largely men, and they continue to believe that, well, these are not issues which are worth recording as crimes. So we have plenty of laws, but punishments must be enforced, must be made more stringent, and complaints must be registered. If this happens, I think the deterrent will be there on those who perpetrate such crimes. My mother has been my inspiration. She was an educated woman aspiring to higher education, which she was deprived of because she was a girl. But she always let her daughters, myself and my sister, know that we would be educated as much as we wanted to be. She was an enterprising woman, she had brains, she had skills, and I know that her life is something which has indirectly inspired me. As a lawyer, my inspiration has been Advocate Indira Jaising. I learned from her how to argue. I still admire her courage, the way she takes up issues at this late age also and delivers her best. So, two women, my inspiration in life.